Okay, here we have a 95 Ford F150 two-wheel drive. Customer complains that the right side is making a noise and the suspension is low, like on the right side. So as you can see, this is the left side, looks fairly decent. This is the right side, and as you can see, the suspension is pretty low. So I'm going to lift it up, take a look at it, see what it looks like, and we go from there. And here we got the truck up on the lift now, and you can actually do this just by jacking your vehicle up too and taking the wheel off. But as you can see, looking at the coil spring, it's pretty obvious what the problem was, and judging by the rust and everything on here, it looks like it's been doing it for quite some time. So you've got to change the coil spring. As you can see, it's just busting right off in here. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to get started on replacing the coil spring. And the way we're going to change the spring is we have to unscrew this bolt right up on the top right here. We have to unscrew this bolt right down on the bottom right here. What you want to do is you want to hold up the suspension with a floor jack or any other way that you can hold the suspension up, and you want to disconnect the lower part of the shock absorber. And then we're going to lower the suspension down a little bit. We're going to take that bolt off and take the spring out. So we'll see how it goes. Just frequently what happens as these cars and trucks get older, rust is a real big issue. 9 times out of 10, you can't get that bolt that goes through the front I-beam to turn. So what I normally do is I just unscrew the nut off the top right here and then take the coil spring up and out. So we'll get started. Remember, we're going to raise the suspension up just to hold it up enough so it doesn't drop when we disconnect it. Okay, once the bolt is loose enough, you can take it out by hand, unscrew it, and you lift the spring right out. Now remember, this one here is broken, so normally you'd have to lower the suspension down in order to get. The way you would lower the suspension down, if you take out this bolt on the lower part of the shock absorber, disconnect that, then we lower the suspension down with the jack that we have under it, and I'll show you how that goes in a moment. Okay, we got the new coil springs. We're just going to install the coil springs back into the truck itself. So let me just show you how we're going to do that. We're going to basically put the spring in like this, push your suspension down a little bit, and snap the spring right in. We'll see. Just push ever so slightly down on the suspension just to get the spring in. And then we're going to reattach up on the top here, and we're going to put the spring back into the bottom. We're going to reinstall the 2 pieces that we took out on the bottom, like that. Put the nut back on. We're going to reattach our bracket here. Okay, we're going to tighten up the spring on top. It holds the upper part of the shock, the spring in place. And then we're going to take our wrench and we're going to tighten up the lower. Then we're going to reattach our shock right here. Okay, last thing we're going to do is we're going to put the lower shock bolt back in. And the way you do that is just line up the lower shock, jack up the suspension until it lines up. And we tighten up the bolt, and we'll move over to the other side. Okay. Okay, now that we're all set, we got the lower shock bolt tight. We got the bottom part that holds the spring in place tight. We had the retainer up on top tight. Suspension is jacked back up now and tight. Now you can lower the suspension down, put the wheel back on, put it on the ground, and you should be at normal curb height. Obviously, we're going to do the other side at the same time.